My name is Robert Sprague, representative from the 83rd House District, and today I'm very pleased to announce that earlier this morning, Governor Kasich has signed into law the new Ohio's 911 Good Samaritan law, which encourages all of Ohioans to seek help and save a life from drug overdose. Last year, in the state of Ohio, 2,482 Ohioans died of a drug overdose, and this figure accounted for nearly an 18% increase from 2013. Many individuals are overdosing and passing away in the presence of other people. As a matter of fact, we know that 8 out of 10 people that use prescription painkillers or overdose from heroin are using with someone else, but 8 out of 10 people that are found from a drug overdose are found alone. There's a fear that they or their loved ones will get into trouble, and that's why Ohio's new 911 Good Samaritan law urges individuals to call 911, seek emergency medical attention, and they will receive immunity from prosecution for minor drug possession. This law goes into effect at the end of September of this year, 90 days from the governor's signature today. The law provides immunity from minor drug possession offenses for qualified individuals that make a good faith effort to obtain emergency medical assistance during a drug overdose. Qualified individuals must comply with peace officers and get a behavioral health screening within 30 days of the overdose. And we're very pleased to announce that the governor has signed this into law today and will become effective in September. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Representative Driehaus. She and I have worked on this law for 3 years now, pulling this language through committee, and I'd like to introduce her and have her comment.
Thank you all for being here. I just want to quickly put this in context. So you may remember that Representative Sprague headed up a traveling committee that went around the state to try to understand better the opioid epidemic in all of our neighborhoods throughout the state. And so Robert Sprague and Ryan Smith, Nikki Antonio, myself, and others participated on that committee, and we learned so much from the individuals in our communities throughout the state. And at that time, this is in the last General Assembly, we offered a multitude of bills because this issue is so complicated. And there are so many ways to go after the opioid epidemic. And so at that time, we offered many bills, most of them bipartisan, and some of them were passed. And so in this General Assembly, I know Representative Sprague decided to kind of hone in on what was the most important that was left to pass and really try to put some effort through or into those pieces of legislation so we can get them passed. And I do want to say that we passed a bill in the last GA that talked about teaching kids in elementary school about the dangers of opioids and heroin as we teach them about the dangers of alcohol and other substance abuse issues. And so from this task force came this bill. We did work on this in the last General Assembly and struggled to have people understand the importance of it. But as you know, the epidemic unfortunately has grown in the state, in every single part of the state. And so I think people have come to recognize that we need to save lives. While we try to tackle the overprescribing, the addictive nature of opioids, how it leads to heroin, all the things that we are learning about, in the meantime, we need to save lives. And so that is what this bill does. It's the Good Sam bill. And you know, our attitude on this is no one should have to second guess doing the right thing. And this bill offers the immunity to not only the person calling 911, but also the person who is overdosing. And so those individuals don't have to worry about prosecution for using if we just save the life. And so I know I said it on the floor, you know, oftentimes you hear a lot of hyperbole coming out of the legislature, and we say things and we maybe tend to exaggerate sometimes the importance of our own legislation. That's not the case on this one. We are going to save lives with this bill. The families behind us will tell you some individual stories where lives have been lost because we didn't have this kind of law in the state of Ohio. And so we think it's really important work. It's time, and as we continue to address the epidemic in Ohio, we will save lives for those young people, especially who are addicted. So I do want to thank Robert Sprague for he has done the yeoman's work on so many of these bills that have run through the last 4 years, really. And so I just want to offer a lot of gratitude and thanks to him for allowing me to be the bipartisan piece of the legislation and help work this through the General Assembly. So with that, I think we're going to introduce some of the things.
Thank you, Representative Driehaus. And certainly as we talk about this being an epidemic, it is obviously pervasive and extensive, but also what really I think tears us apart, particularly as legislators, is to hear the personal stories of the families that are affected. And so here today we have 3 families that we're going to give a little testimony on why this bill is important. Tony Grotrian is going to be first, and Tony lost his grandson Aaron. Cindy Kumutsis, pretty good is going to talk a little bit as to how she feels the bill is important, and talk a little bit about her personal experience with the bill. And then we're going to end with Carrie, Sadler. And Carrie is going to talk a little bit about her son, Brandon. And so I'd like to introduce, I guess, first of all, Tony Grotrian to come forward and share with you some remarks.
My name is Tony Grotrian. Around the state of Ohio, I'm also known as Grandpa Tony by a lot of people. You know, we always hear about parents getting a phone call that they never want to hear. You're familiar with that. Well, I, as a grandparent, got that phone call on August the 28th, 2009, when I lost my grandson Aaron to an overdose of heroin. That set me off on a journey to try to make a difference. At that time, I was still working, and by November that year, it dawned on me I was never going to make any progress unless I retired, not retired full-time. I started a one-man crusade in Hancock County called Operation SOC. So that's okay, which stands for Save Our Kids. And I'm still running that today. And by 2013, I had started studying about Good Samaritan laws in other states. At that time, if I remember correctly, there were 15 states that had such a bill. And the more I thought about it and learned about it, the more I thought we needed that. At the time when my grandson Aaron died, there was no help for him in Hancock County, not the kind he needed. We also determined that upon his death, we're not sure, but there was either 2 or 3 other individuals with him, and they fled the scene without making a call. It took his 16-year-old sister to go upstairs and find out why he wasn't coming down for supper. She's the one that found him dead in bed. So to me, this is very important. It has been ever since I lost my grandson, and I swore God and my nation at that time, if I can do something to help some other family, not have to go through the turmoil and everything that my family has gone through and still goes through, that's what I had to do.